But
Yeah, let's just open the show and we'll figure this out as we go. Let's just do that.
all I have to say is she is so lucky that the CEO of Health United got murdered.
Yeah,
Right.
dude, she caught such a break that the CEO got shot in the streets like right at the same time as that bullshit. On
Yeah,
that
yeah.
note,
Let's
I
open
guess
that. Yeah.
welcome to Western Kabuki. I'm Caleb. Every week I'm joined by June. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I have finally realized that everything always happens. The people that say nothing ever happens were wrong. December has been a month of everything always happens every single day. It's been a fun time. It's been a I don't know, like a chaotic time. It's been fun. I've been getting back into Pokemon Breloom. Love that dude.
Let's
Love that
go.
mushroom. Yeah, big fan.
Let's go. Alex is not here, but we are joined by returning guest, friend of the show, Matt Bender. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I got to say, this is the first ever interview podcast guest appearance that I've done that was initially started over a message on Blue Sky.
Oh,
Things are
let's go.
changing.
Oh shit.
Things are changing. Usually they come over email or Twitter DM, but now
X
it's
the
Blue
everything
Sky.
app.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
Blue Sky, I think people are realizing, and a lot of people have been talking about Blue Sky kind of has the juice that Twitter once had. Like
yeah.
people, like sadly, people
June,
still
Are
use.
you allowed to talk about your thing yet?
Oh
I'll
yeah, I
cut
mean it
this if
wasn't
not.
like
Okay.
a specifically just me, but I was just recently interviewed for an NBC article about Blue Sky and just like the platform itself, and like how it relates to like a shift away from Twitter slash X, the everything app. Um, so it's like people, especially people like journalists, people that populated the early days of Twitter, are like it feels like fully moved over to Blue Sky at this point. I'm sure you kind of feel the same and have noticed that, Matt, as well.
Yeah, it does feel like a real changeover. Like the people who were sort of like known for being like Twitter personalities, I guess you can say. They made the jump. At least like, people who were or are, anywhere center left all the way to the left. Like, of
Yeah.
course, the right-wing influencers are thankfully still over on Twitter. Is that a running gag here where we're calling it X the everything app every
It
time
is
we
sometimes, whatever. But we
I
call it
so
Twitter.
so very
We're dead
recently.
naming.
So I was a big proponent of dead naming Twitter, but I just read a piece by, I forget his full at, but I think his handle is like JP. It's like the purple creature. It's not my profile picture, but it's like a little purple guy. And he wrote a piece recently where he was like, this was like 2 weeks ago, saying like Twitter is dead. Like the Twitter that we once knew is actually fully dead. This is X. It's like a new era of what Twitter once was. So he made like a case basically for calling it X because what Twitter was is no longer around. So it doesn't feel proper to call it Twitter anymore. And I'm like,
That
I've kind of come around on that.
that's good. I like that. That's a good way to get around calling it X, formerly known as Twitter, or
It
Twitter,
also
now
just
known
kind of
as
feels a
X.
little like bitchy to call it X the everything app, which I'm like all about.
I love still referencing Blaze Your Glory because like they dropped that a year
I
ago.
forgot about Blaze Your Glory.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
they
perfect
dropped that.
it's a perfect encapsulation sort of how like weird and out of touch and corny Elon Musk is, that he thought that was a cool catchphrase or slogan. Blaze your glory.
It was so ridiculous. Like they dropped it like barely within a year of launching that tagline, and they didn't like announce that they stopped using it, but they just like switched it on the App Store. Like they just got rid of it because they're like, all right, no one's fucking saying "Blaze your glory." But yeah,
So,
no, it's
so
been
weird.
a. We'll have to link that piece because I actually it's a very cathartic piece. It's not just talking about like specifically the case for like calling it X, but it's just like the case for everything that X is now is what Twitter wasn't before, and it's like a very cathartic piece if you've been a long time Twitter user. So we'll have to
As
shout
someone
that
who's
piece out.
been on Twitter longer than Elon Musk, I do want to read. I've actually, he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm positive he's seen my tweets, but I know he's muted me many, many years ago. But as somebody who I've told this to, I've been on Twitter longer than you, Elon, and I will be on long after you, God willing. I will read that.
For sure. No, we'll link it. But what we're necessarily here to talk about. I think it might come up, but were we going to start with the Hawk Tuah coin? My like low
You
key
want to start with
obsession.
that?
Yeah,
I
I think
would
it's a
love
good because
to.
I was going to ask Matt, like, why don't you introduce yourself to anybody who missed your last? Because it's been a while. It's been over a year, I think, since you were on last or
Yeah, I think we
close.
had
Yeah.
you over a year and a half ago. We
Yeah,
had you pretty early on, I think.
yeah, you were an
Yeah, it's been a
early
while.
Western Kabuki adopter, so thank you for that.
Oh no, it's my pleasure to have been one of the people responsible for really nothing at all but coming on this show once. I don't know what I was going to say.
Well, that's huge. That was huge.
I appreciate that. I appreciate I could be such a integral part of the history of Western Kabuki.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
if you want
you
to,
This
you
is where
yeah,
I
yeah, why
should.
don't you give us a little, yeah, give us the elevator pitch on Matt Bender.
Sure. I took a perfect moment, by the way, to take a sip of my drink. Just, you know, when no one said
Mhm.
anything, I'll just. But anyway, yeah, my name is Matt Binder. I have been doing the news thing for way too long now. You might know me from the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. I have my own podcasts, Doomed and Scam Economy, the latter, which talks about cryptocurrency, which we're about to talk about. I also recently soft launched my newsletter at disruptionist.com, which I'm going to fully launch and regularly write in very soon. Maybe even by the time this gets released publicly, I might actually have it already launched. So you might be able to go right now
Awesome.
and sign up. So yeah, that's me. You might know me online on X, the Everything app, and now Blue Sky at Matt Binder. Yeah, all that fun stuff. That's me.
hell yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are excited to have you. And so we're doing a news episode. We do these every now and then now. And one of the I can't even talk about this without laughing. It's just such a ridiculous situation. I want to talk to you, Matt, about Hawk Tuah girl, Hailey Welch. You wrote a piece on this. So why don't you tell us about the piece and then let's get into that.
So before we get
Yeah,
started, I don't think we've necessarily talked about her on the show or anything, but she's been
A
like
little
I've very little, but I've been
a
obsessed with
tertiary
her.
character in the Kabuki verse.
Yeah, I've been like low key obsessed with her and everything she's done, aside from actually listening to her show for the last like 3 months. And this moment that we're about to talk about, the Hawk Tuah coin, is like everything I could have hoped for. So yeah, if you wanna
yeah,
lead
sure.
into
Where
your
where
piece,
should
yeah.
where should I start? Should I start with who she is, or we think we
Yeah,
got
you
that?
know what? Just in case somebody who's listening to this, because we actually, you know what, we do have a lot of people who use this show as kind of a filter because they don't want to be online as much anymore because it's the horrors and such. So let's start at the very beginning. Who is Haley Welsh?
Yeah, sure. So, geez, I don't even. I think it was like over the summer, not really all that long ago.
It
Like you
feels
know
like
those
fucking
like
5 years ago now.
right, it really does. You know those like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram like web made videos where people do the man on the street thing and just talk to people and try to get a viral moment out of someone. Well, these guys who I don't even think they're even that well known, or certainly compared to how well known Haley Welch is now, they're nobodies.
Yeah, I
They
have no
I've
clue
been
who interviewed her.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't even
he actually,
remember.
there was an article about him that was like, I'm upset that like I don't get any
Oh yeah,
money.
I do recall that the people who actually interviewed her, who I guess discovered her and talked to her, uh, they are upset that she's gotten famous and is making lots of money, and they feel like she hasn't given them proper due credit or
They
whatever.
did do the work of finding a drunk 22-year-old girl outside of a bar, and
Right, very
that,
hard.
very hard to do.
Very hard to do. But they found her outside and wherever she's from, and she gave them the famous. It was like the
Fresh
question
out
they
of
asked
some Disney animatronic jamboree, I assume, based on her accent.
yes, yes. I think the question they asked her was something like, "What's the one thing that you can do in bed that drives a guy wild?" Potentially drives a girl wild too. And she said something like, "Oh, she did the Hawk Tuah," and then she said like with her accent, spit on that thing or whatever. And for some reason, out of all the crazy things that people say and get uploaded to the internet, I guess the combination of her being like a cute young country girl and her over the top country accent and her doing the full blown like Hawk Tuah thing, I guess that all those combined to make for a viral moment. And immediately she had merch for sale, and I recall seeing people wearing like Hawk Tuah shirts in New York City like weeks after the clip went viral, and I was like, oh, this is
Grim.
The
yeah,
most Ellen DeGeneres era thing to happen since she went off the air, basically.
mm-hmm. Right. And it just never ended. Like the 15 minutes felt like they should have been up, and they just keep they just keep going. And then she was doing all like basically a lot of these, especially if you're a young like college age or close to college age person, you do like the old like MTV reality TV star thing where you get famous, and to extend that fame for as long as possible to that crowd, you do like the bar appearance, like the big club bar appearance, like type tours where you just show up and like you get the point is for you to sell drinks and shots and things like that, and you show up and people go to. She did that, I remember, and she still was like getting all this attention. And I remember she was invited on Bill Maher's podcast.
Oh, that one
And
was brutal. That was painful
Yeah.
to watch. I watched some clips from that one.
I
Like,
didn't. I'd rather kill myself than watch that.
He's
I'll
already the
just say
most
it.
painful guy to watch in those
Yeah,
interviews,
the
but it was
worst.
one of the most uncomfortable things of
He
all
was
time.
so creepy. He was hitting on her. And then he acted like he had this great idea that no one ever thought of, that she should start a podcast and she should do it on like his network.
I
And it
thought you were
was
about to say she should start an OnlyFans, which, that would have been worse. That was actually our friend, the Quartering, who had that idea for her.
Oh my God, you're right. I
Yeah, do you
forgot the
remember that
quartering.
thread? He made a thread
He
about
pitched
how,
that.
like, yeah, you
Yeah.
should start an OnlyFans as like he was like, I'm just telling you how it is, like business wise. Your 15 minutes of fame won't last. We're gonna set you up. Let's get you an OnlyFans. And it's like, God damn, that's so gross.
I mean, hell, she proved them wrong because
Yeah, she did.
And good on her for that, frankly.
yeah, definitely. Like, when I was watching that Bill Maher clip, I was, I was just watching clips from it. I'm not a regular Bill Maher podcast connoisseur. I don't really, I'm not a big Maher fan.
All
But
the
like,
Mara heads are gonna email us about this.
I'm sorry. But I saw the clips because they were creepy, and it was very like obvious she was going to start a podcast, and he was like acting like he came up with the idea, and it was very clear she was going to do it on her own, and she didn't need Bill Maher's podcast network. She was going to obviously be bigger than Bill Maher's podcast, and so she ends up launching her own podcast, Hawk Tuah, and it immediately became like, on Spotify at least, like the third biggest podcast behind Joe Rogan, and I forgot who else, someone else.
I think she beat like Candace Owens or was right behind Candace Owens. It's like, it was like Ben
Genuinely, this
Shapiro.
information makes me want to die.
Yeah, no, she briefly at least had one of the biggest podcasts on like podcast networks. I don't know if that's still the case.
To be
I tried
fair,
to
guys,
find that
I don't
out
know
a
if
while
you know
ago.
this. I don't
What?
know if you guys know this information. As a former, we'll call myself a gray area ethically internet marketer.
Yeah.
There is a grace period when you start a new podcast. At least it was on Apple Podcasts. I'm sure it's on Spotify because I operated prior to Spotify being the podcast juggernaut that it is, where you actually could game for your first like week or two. You could game the algorithm for iTunes. So my old shitty podcast that maybe 3 people listening to this remember was in the top 10 comedy podcasts, and we were nobodies for like the first
Oh.
2 weeks. And that's how you gain all your followers, and then you hopefully,
Right.
when you sink to oblivion, you take them down. So I don't know, maybe now that's not the case, but she has
No, I
smart
think
marketing people.
I think she's still pretty big. In fact, I could let's
Yeah, let's
really,
look it up.
I know on
I,
YouTube she gets a lot of views still.
Still, It's a
Still.
very big bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she's not like here's the thing is like she's not like straight up evil. She just kind of is like someone who's gotten caught up in a very like ambiguously right-wing sphere because she
Yeah.
doesn't really have any like I don't want to say
Well, because she's
standards,
just
but
like,
she
oh,
doesn't
Elon Musk is cool, and then all of a sudden
yeah,
these Nazis are like, she's ours. We got her.
exactly. It's the similar thing that like they'll kind of claim a meme or whatever because Elon Musk will post about it and then the person who is like quote tweeted or whatever doesn't like stop the who like Elon Musk or any of these Nazis. So she kind of like fell down that sphere because of course, if you get quote tweeted by Elon Musk, you're gonna just get a million new fans. That's just kind of how it is.
Hmm.
If you're like amenable to his world.
Well, it looks like she did fall off. I don't see her podcast on the charts anymore.
Oh my
So
She's
god.
probably still doing really well, but that's just kind of how that works. Is like if you're a new
uh,
podcast,
yeah.
the more so like the way that my old show did this was we launched the podcast with a live event, and basically I can't remember what it was. It was like I pre-purchased a bunch of beer from the bar, and I was like, if you show me that you've subscribed and given us a 5-star review, I will give you one free beer. And it cost me like $250 or whatever, and then we were in the top 10 for comedy podcasts, and it worked. We had a lot of downloads. So like
Hmm.
there's very simple ways to kind of game the system. And if you have as
Right.
much money behind her as the Paul brothers probably threw into this, she, you kind of see where she's going.
And if I remember correctly, the agency that bought her is the same one that has, or is just straight up the Paul brothers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, this is a Paul brothers production.
I actually did not know that. It's not surprising that,
Yeah, she's so her
Mm.
podcast is like set up by the Paul brothers, and they have one sponsor, and it's an internet casino.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, she's obviously like she's just a regular person who was thrown into this really fast. Like it
Yeah,
was
she
a
doesn't know
year
any
ago.
better.
Right. Yeah. Which, I don't know if this says more about her or more about the people that bought into it, but then eventually, just this past week, she launches a her own cryptocurrency token or what's called a meme coin, basically a crypto that has no real utility. I mean, does any crypto really have any utility at all? But no apparent it's this is coming soon. You'll be able to do this with this. Just a cryptocurrency token that was launched fully based on her backing. And it was called the
I
Hawk
think it was just
Tuah.
called, yeah, I
It
think it
was
was just
called
like
Hawk, like the
Hawk.
money sign Hawk.
Hawk
Yeah,
coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Um,
people were calling
do
it like
can I
Hawk
ask you
Tuah,
about
the Hawk Tuah
this
coin.
Matt? I don't know a whole lot about meme coins. There are people who think that a meme coin is going to be like the next AMC or the next whatever. It's like kind of who's buying this? Because it seems to me it's like maybe like a low stakes, like, oh, I'm going to throw just a little bit in because the potential ceiling is so high. Like
Right.
who's buying Hawk coin?
So like the whole premise of meme coins is that Dogecoin sort of started that whole thing, because Dogecoin was started as basically a joke, like a tongue-in-cheek way of saying like we could create a Bitcoin of our own that's worthless. And so these two guys launched Dogecoin as a joke, but because it was like the first, and it sort of was connected to that, I guess, popular Doge meme that the Shiba Inu dog. It sort of took off, and I don't know if you recall that dark period of time in 2021 when Elon Musk went on SNL. The Dogecoin hit like 70 something cents. And that's pretty
That's pretty
crazy.
high for what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, and it's still like the most valuable of the meme coins. Like none of them have touched Dogecoin's popularity or value. Um, but that sort of gave everyone the idea of, wow, I could become rich by just launching my own bullshit coin. And so all these people started their own meme coins. Um, During that time period in 2021 and going into 2022, I covered this a lot. The meme coin sort of gave rise to influencers just starting their own pump and dump meme coin, where just like, a lot of rando, like, uh, online influencers who really have no like cultural impact whatsoever, but somehow still manage to gain like nearly 1 million or more followers. Like a lot of these people were suddenly just dropping their own crypto tokens left and right, multiple ones sometimes.
It's like
I
the
mean,
exact same thing as we saw with NFTs, I feel like. And like what you would get like maybe for instance, like a former pro athlete who doesn't have like any idea what the fuck an NFT is. I mean, Kenny Loggins got caught into this, like tons and tons and tons of like of pro athletes, washed up musicians, celebrities, whatever, get tied into NFTs, and this is kind of a continuation of that now that NFTs are gone, where it's just what do you call it, a pump and dump or a rug pull, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Like a lot of these celebrities have no idea what's going on here. I mean, there are certainly a few who are in on just making as much money as possible. I mean, that's the draw. Period. The fact that I get into it at all, anything involving, excuse me, crypto or NFTs or anything blockchain related. It's just the idea of, oh, I can make money doing this, obviously. But they're sort of drawn in by the idea that there's all this money in this. So that means there must be a lot of people doing it. And my fans want me to do this because they want to take part. And it's just not true. It's just not true. What's going on here is a very small amount of people with a lot of money are buying into this stuff in an attempt to make the people who are not on the inside feel like they are actually missing out by that same train of thought that, oh, a lot of money, a lot of people are doing this, and those people are getting rich. I don't want to be the person left behind. I mean, that's why so much of like the crypto, like hardcore crypto, like investor jargon has to do with like, have fun staying poor. You're
Mhm.
not going to make it.
That was huge, like especially in
Yeah.
the NFT era. If you remember, like on Twitter, whenever you would make fun of like the Bored Apes or whatever, you would get a horde of people saying exactly what you just said, like, "Oh, you're
Stay
gonna be
poor,
poor."
wagey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Right, right. It's this whole idea of, well, I mean, the sell for them is they want you to feel like if you don't buy in, you'll be left out and everyone else will get rich and you'll be a loser working a 9 to 5. But the real purpose is that these crypto people know that in order for them to make money, they need to sell this to the next fool because basically when they sell off, they're taking what that person put into it. Because that's the only way this works. It's the ultimate Ponzi scheme because there's no value here. There's no product being sold. It's not even like, and listen, I think the stock market's got a lot of issues and is a scam in and of itself in its own ways. But at least like you as a regular person can look into a company, see how they're doing based on the product or service they're sold or selling, or what they are going to announce, and try to gauge whether that will be good for the company or not. There's nothing you can do here that will tell you whether or not you are making a good decision buying into this crypto token. And people will say Bitcoin has consistently gone up over the years until, of course, it hasn't. Of course, Bitcoin just recently hit record highs. It broke six figures, 100K for the first time. But at the same time, if you're a big shot, multi-millionaire, even billionaire investor with money to spend, and you can, keep your money held up in Bitcoin until you feel like you're turning a profit, that's a win for you. But if you're a normal, everyday person who's putting your money in, you don't know when you're going to need that money. And when you need that money, you could be selling it for less than you bought in. There's no way you can really tell for any of this. So
and
that's sort of like,
so
yeah, go ahead.
and so from what I understand, she was approached. She being Hailey Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, she was approached by. I feel like I did some brief research into the team that is working with her, some pretty sketchy figures in like the crypto community, and were basically pitched that thing. And she's very inexperienced online. She didn't really have an online presence before any of
Also
this.
very, also very interesting. One of the guys is Howie Mandel's son-in-law.
What? I didn't know that. What? Whoa. Okay, that adds another layer I didn't even expect to be to exist here. That's crazy.
Right.
Um,
He's like some sort of like cornball, like street,
He was
like
the
fake
bald
street
game show
artist.
guy that was the germaphobe.
Right. But his
no.
son-in-law. So like who his daughter married is in on
Mm.
it. He's like, I guess what like Chet Hanks is to Tom Hanks. What you should look this guy up. I forgot his name, but he's embarrassing looking. Like
Is
he
it the guy
dresses,
that's named like Nick or something? There's like someone involved named Nick.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, yeah. So like this guy and like a couple other people approached her and was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this like amazing thing."
Right.
That ended up being a rug pull. From what I understand, she has not posted, and her team has not posted in 5 days now since
Right. Because
launching this crypto.
there's nothing they could do to explain away what happened. So basically, and this is tale as old as time when it comes to these meme coins, especially the ones that are launched by influencers or celebrities. What happens is these meme coins are created, and before they are announced or go on public sale, like any Joe Schmo can buy into the meme coin. What usually happens is they have a like pre-sale, and sometimes these tokens are sold to friends and family members at like rock bottom prices, way less than it's going to go on to public sale for. Other times they literally just give away the tokens to themselves or friends and family. But either way, if you are one of the insiders, if you know the people involved in this, you will get a enormous amount of tokens if you want, for free or for very, very cheap. And then what happens is they the meme coin's announced, it goes on sale publicly. All the big fans of whatever celebrity or influencer buy in right away, thinking they're getting the rock bottom prices. With these guys all putting their money into it, the value of the meme coin goes up. And then what ends up happening is the people who got it before the public launch are saying, holy shit, I spent nothing or very little on this. And if I sell now, I can make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. I got nothing to lose. Who gives a shit what happens to this meme coin going forward? So they just fucking dump it. They dump all their holdings, walk away with all the money. Immediately, that's going to plummet the value because, again, the value is going up because of the money going in via the public launch. Because the meme coin was really worth nothing before the public launch because so little.
It's just all theoretical. It's all
Right.
speculation based off of
So
whoever
little,
created it.
right. So little was put into it. Like it, so all these fans of hers or any of these celebrities or influencers who launch one of these see the value of this token immediately drop, and they're like, what the hell is going on? This is not right. Because like, I wouldn't, or people who bought in at the same time as me, they wouldn't sell now because they would be selling at a loss, or if they maybe bought and then immediately sold, what, they made a couple pennies. Like, it's not worth the risk. And so what happened here specifically, and CoffeeZilla, who is a YouTuber who basically has made a name off of doing intensively deep research into the exchanges going on between crypto wallets on the blockchain.
He does great work, by the way. If you haven't ever checked out like a CoffeeZilla video on YouTube, highly recommend it. He does a lot of really good investigative, like crypto scam content and investigation.
So CoffeeZilla basically goes into this Twitter space that they were holding, or X the Everything app space that they were holding, and because they had to do something publicly because the blowback online when this happened was quick, immediate. People were extremely angry.
Yeah, can I just say I watched most of that space. I watched when CoffeeZilla got in, like live, and it was brutal. I think you can still find that space somewhere online, but it is
You can.
brutal.
Maybe I'll even snip in the audio here. It's brutal.
It's fucking brutal.
From the community, happy to answer any
I have
questions.
questions. I have questions. I'm raising my hand. Hey guys.
What CoffeeZilla?
Hey,
Hey, man.
this is one of the most miserable, horrible launches I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, then why the fuck are you on?
I've been tracing it on chain for a while. You guys generated over $1 million in fees while y'all's fans got rug pulled. There was snipers, but there was also insider trading directly linked to y'all's creator account. What are you guys doing?
No. That's not true.
That is true. That's a fact.
No, it's not.
Well, it's a fact, and you can see it on chain. So
Yeah, we know. We trust me. We were there. We could answer that.
you know about the insider trading?
No, there's no insider trading. That's why we can answer it.
Okay,
But
so there's tokens going directly from the main account.
CoffeeZilla, just chill for a second.
And then it's getting sold for $50K. Who is that?
Definitely not us. You think we're doing this for $50K? Yeah, fucking right. Talking to the wrong guy. You're used to these bullshit scammers out here. Not us. Now,
That's what everyone says, by the way.
Listen, doesn't matter. No, I'm not everyone. There was a strategic allocation, right, through a foundation. Every single one of those was signed through a SAFT. The deployer wallet, you've heard of a strategic allocation or a private
How much
sale?
did y'all get doing a pre-sale? How much did y'all make?
It's not that we
Selling out
made.
your fans. So
Over here, can you give hold on, CoffeeZilla, take a chill.
I mean, he's basically telling them to their face that he did the research into it. Because
like every transaction is recorded. That's one of the ostensibly like advantages of being on the blockchain, right?
Right. It's the one thing you can sort of, which always makes it a funny argument for people who are like, I can make private transactions and hide how I'm moving my money, which I don't think people should be able to do to begin with. But the idea that you can do that is just not true. If you've ever shared a crypto wallet address publicly, and then you use that crypto wallet address to then do sketchy or outright illegal things, people will immediately know it's you. And that's not what happened here specifically, but he was able to see that 10, I think it was 10. It was something like 10, not that many more if it was more, but around 10 crypto wallets apparently at launch had 95% of all the Hawk coins available. And he said, he confronted them and said, I see these wallets selling off and making transactions immediately after it launched and people were buying in and they were trying to deny it. And he's like, it's just bullshit. Like you're bullshitting us here, because you can't lie about it. Like whether that was, the direct team that set it up with Hailey Welch themselves or one of their friends or buddies or who knows. But it was the fact of the matter is that a handful of wallets had the vast majority of these tokens, and they sold immediately. And you would have not gotten that many tokens before launch unless you knew the people who created it or were the people who created it and had that insider knowledge to be able to hoard that many coins that early on. It was just bullshit. And then, Hailey Welch, she has no idea what's going on. She's in there trying to save face and protect her brand. And she's like yelling at CoffeeZilla, like, why are you in here if you're gonna be like this, not realizing who and how. Like she must have thought he was like
very naive,
right.
Super naive, like internet type shit. Like they super horrible optics, just really, really bad. It felt like in that day specifically, but as days follow with no response since that space, she's kind of lost a lot of like the internet mandate she had.
She also ended it in the funniest possible way where she just interrupted them and was like, I'm going to bed. Bye.
Yes. She didn't care. That's, I guess, what sort of makes it like worse, perhaps. Like she clearly did not care. And again, like, I don't think this is, for me, the reason I cared so much to start a whole podcast just about cryptocurrency was because during that time period in 2020, 2021, the first half of 2022, crypto was officially making that jump into the mainstream. They were sponsoring all these major sports leagues. They were naming sports arenas after, paying for the sponsorship for the name of the arena. You saw commercials on TV. Everything was being sponsored by crypto exchanges or crypto loan companies or what have you. And you heard from so many regular ordinary people that they were jumping in. They heard all this money was being made. I'm sure you all were hearing from your family members or friends about crypto for the first time from people who you thought would never talk about this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I knew a lot of I would say pretty offline people in like friends and family that absolutely started talking about it. Yeah.
So like that was why I was so interested in it, because like I've always covered scams. And to me, like this wasn't just a bunch of people who knew what was going on, who knew what they were getting themselves into, fucking each other over back and forth. This was now hitting real people who had no idea what they were getting involved in and were lured in by this promise of getting rich and successful and not being left behind or missing out. And so I thought that was, fucked up. And that's why I took such an interest in it. I don't think we're there yet. I think crypto obviously is not dead, and nor did I ever think that. But it's not yet in that mainstream. I think it's too fresh on people's minds. I do worry that with the with Bitcoin getting all this coverage for hitting 100K, that it is getting closer to that point again where normal, regular people are going to jump back in. But right now it's sort of still at that point where you got a bunch of people who are gambling addicts, but instead of, playing a poker or roulette, they're fucking buying meme coins, who are fucking each other over left and right. And so, do I really care? Like that people who know what they're getting themselves into are getting screwed over and over again and not learning their lesson. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing that happened. If it was like, if she or someone of lesser means did this, I'd be like, yeah, good for them. But at the same time, like clearly the people she worked with are those crypto gambling addicts who just fucked over other people and are clearly getting away rich. So, in that
I was going to ask, who do we know? Because in her, like, I guess, or not her, but her whatever, that dork that was like white knighting is like, oh, we don't hold any of these tokens. It's in the foundation. The foundation holds all these tokens. Do we know yet who's involved in the, I guess, Hawk Tuah Foundation, which is, I guess, the Clinton Foundation of crypto? Like,
right.
Who's making money on this?
It might be out there. It's so basically you have, and this isn't specific to her. I don't know the specific individuals. It might be out there, but basically what you have is people who are in the crypto or Web3 industry. They approach these influencers to set up like this stuff for them, and they take part in it, and that's how they get rich. That's how they make their money. So she was clearly approached by people who offer these sort of services to influencers and celebrities. These are people who have sold crypto before. They've created meme coins before. This is not like, a team of like, your usual like celebrity or even online influencer agents. These are people who know what they're doing with crypto.
I think that's most of the story, but before I think we move on to some other like really crazy fun stuff that's happened recently.
Oh, she's gonna get.
Oh yeah, is she going to jail? Actually, hold on. Is she going to jail? Is that like a thing? People are saying that, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's true.
I don't think she's going to jail. I mean, will
hefty
she get
fines, perhaps?
Will she get sued? Will she get fined? Yeah, I think that could be likely. And how severe it is, I guess, depends on how much money was involved. If I forget how much it was. If you give me a second, I could look it up. But I remember that Kim Kardashian, she promoted, it wasn't her own like Kim Kardashian branded cryptocurrency, but she had promoted
without like disclosing that she was promoting it.
Yeah, she was advertising a crypto called Ethereum Max, which I mean, come on.
So
And
fake. Yeah.
and the SEC they hit her with a 1.26 million dollar fine. And also she had to like they barred her from like doing any sort of similar endorsements for crypto for like a year or something like that. It was, so basically my point is these influencers have been fined before and there has been punishment before. This one's a little bit different though, because this was uh her directly using her name and brand to sell her own branded crypto. I would be interesting to see what happens and how far this goes, but I think it really will come down to how much was actually tied up in this.
It's going to be interesting because yeah, like as of currently recording, I don't think any of her social media has made a single post in 5 days. So I can't imagine it's going to be good for her based on that.
Well, tune into the next episode of Talk Tuah to see what's going
Right.
to happen next, right?
Yeah, if it ever happens, if it ever comes out.
I mean, there's no way they can fix it. Like the money is gone. Like unless they specifically the people directly involved just completely sold off and want to make good and put that money back in. That there's no way they could fix that. And like you were mentioning the foundation before, these crypto foundations are just, bullshit. Like you were mentioning, like it's just like nothing. It's just like the people who are behind it pretending that like they have no say and it's the foundation that is
You think the Paul brothers are going to give their stake back into this? Like, fuck off. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just to cap this all off, it's crazy to fall for a meme coin scam in 2024, though. I don't know how that's still happening.
I mean, there are the crazy thing is that there are platforms now that make creating meme coins super easy. Like you don't have to understand crypto at all. And that people are buying these meme coins.
So what you're saying is we could launch the Kabuki coin and make
millions.
You could
be billionaires.
I mean, I don't know how much you could make.
Well, I wouldn't become a billionaire, but you, the listener, would be the one that would be becoming a billionaire if you buy a Kabuki coin.
Right.
That's launching today. That's our big announcement for the day is we're launching Kabuki coin. Buy it now. Hawk Tuah.
Just make sure you get me in on the pre-sale, okay?
Yeah.
Well, you'll hold 95% of the
coins. Yeah. You're on the foundation. Okay. Do we any other thoughts on our friend Hailey, or do you want to move on? Because I know we spent a lot more time on.
I gotta say, I was sort of rooting for her until up to this point, and I think a lot of people probably were too. Again, like I don't really care who she scammed, but the fact that she got involved with crypto in general, like really, really soured.
Can I be real with you guys?
Yeah, what's up?
This makes me like cheer for her more because like who's buying the Hawk coin? A bunch of perverts, pedophiles, libertarians. Like she actually is doing the world a service by separating these freaks from their money.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, like if this was like if she created this on her own and like the money was going directly to her, I'd be like, yeah. But then
this money's going to Jake Paul.
With her, yeah, like not even Jake Paul, like Howie Mandel's son-in-law. He's getting like, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Shit,
okay. Yeah. She belongs in prison. Okay, I'm with you guys. Shit. Okay, the next story is the one that everybody probably is thinking about right now. The Luigi Mangione, the alleged, although I think now we can safely say that unless the feds found a patsy, this is the guy who shot the UnitedHealthcare CEO.
Yeah, I still think it would be the funniest case scenario if he was just like some dude at McDonald's that got caught up in all of this, and they're like, no, this is the guy. And he was like just at the like lookalike contest in New York, and he's just like gotten caught up in this whole scandal, and he's like the actual guy is still on the run somewhere. I think that'd be like the funniest case scenario.
Yeah, unfortunately, the cops. They found. First of all, let's talk about this. They found him because a McDonald's employee, a customer, told a McDonald's employee, "Hey, I think this is like the New York shooter." And the McDonald's employee, thinking that they were going to get a $60,000 reward, calls the cops. Well, speaking of wages, as we were talking about earlier in the talk to This McDonald's employee, through a series of loopholes, is actually probably not going to get that money. So back to work. Don't get on your phone.
Flip that burger.
Yeah, flip the burger. That's what you get. So on his person, on Luigi Mangione, Mangione, I'm not Italian.
I
I don't
think it's
know.
Mangione.
Mangione. Okay, that's how we're saying it. If we're wrong, we're gonna get yelled at. Luigi Mangione. They found ostensibly a quote unquote ghost gun with a silencer, some fake IDs, and a manifesto. I guess I'll read the manifesto, then we'll go from there. This was originally leaked by Ken Klippenstein, who,
Shout out.
yeah, he released it before anyone else in the media because they're too big of cowards to do it. Now they all have to, so good for him. Sign up for his newsletter and so forth. Okay. Um, Here goes. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anybody. This is fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info here. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites had it coming. A reminder, the United States has the number one most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly 42 in life expectancy. The United States is indecipherable, the largest company in the US by market cap behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but has our life expectancy? No. The reality is indecipherable. We have simply gotten too powerful and continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space and frankly do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, e.g., Rosenthal Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. So,
I
that
gotta
is.
say, you should read that. You had to read. I feel like you had to read that with the Italian accent, right? Like, who let the feds?
Hey,
Yeah, Luigi.
Michael Moore.
I gotta say, the funniest thing about this is like, okay, he got caught because he pulled down his mask to flirt with a woman. So his only crime really was being an Italian American. Like he had to do it.
Italian Americans continue to be the most oppressed group in all of America. I mean, this just proves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the mistakes made by him, like that one was obviously number one. But like when you heard about how when he was caught, like he still had the weapon on him.
Yeah, what's that
He
about?
apparently
He's
showed
Altoona.
he
Doing,
apparently
man?
showed the local cops the same fake ID he used to
At the
check
hostel.
hostel.
Yeah.
Like, what you needed to have a whole array of fake IDs and use a different one every single time. What are you doing?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that's what's been so weird about this because I don't subscribe to the theory that this is like a patsy or whatever. I think this is absolutely the guy. But the thing is like the whole like lead up to his arrest has been like it was like so well thought out and like planned, like the whole deny, defend, and depose on the 3 bullets that he used, and the like backpack with the monopoly money that he intentionally left behind. It's just really
Well,
weird
that's
that he like did all of that but then got caught doing like flirting at a McDonald's with the gun he used. It's like, what is happening?
But all that is actually like I know it seems like cocky and like really like like wow, like he did that, but like that's sort of all those little things help give a little clue to them to actually give you away. Like if you actually wanted to get away with it, you couldn't do anything like that. Like
That's true.
like,
Yeah, that's true.
like,
But
like
it's more interesting to do that though. Let's be honest.
like yeah, of course. Like but when you know that video came out and people were like, "Oh, he looks like a professional." Like he looked like a guy who was trained with a gun. But I mean, if it was a professional, that CEO would have been snuffed out in his hotel room without anybody even knowing that went on.
Yeah. So
That's
you guys want to
true.
hear something funny?
Yeah, what's up?
I have a friend who, because he went to Penn, and I have a friend who also went to Penn and has other Penn grad friends. I have been kind of privy to some behind the scenes stuff that's not even made it to the media yet. Excuse me, I have Sorry, the hiccups. His firearms training comes from paintball. He's a paintballer.
Oh my God. Okay, so he's not
Yeah.
like a classically trained. Like he didn't go to the range. He
No, he's
just
not a
played a lot
vet.
of paintball.
Yeah,
You
not
didn't
a
you
vet,
didn't hear
just a
you
pretty
didn't hear
smart guy, you know.
you didn't hear about his assassin training that the media was reporting
Oh,
about?
that's right. Yeah,
The dude
illuminate
was
our audience on that, Matt, because that is so true.
right. So,
I lost my shit when I saw this.
so the mainstream media was running with the headline that Luigi Mangione was a big uh, assassin in training, and he was using a very specific video game to train for the big day. And
I
what
thought
was
it was
that
going to be
video game?
Assassin's Creed, at least, by the
Yeah,
way. I thought it was going to
Assassin's
be that.
Creed, Hitman, any of those, serious games. But no, it was Among Us.
Apparently, everyone's grandparents during COVID were also being trained
Yeah.
as assassins.
AOC, trained assassin.
Yeah.
Funny you say that because I did log into X the Everything app earlier today, and I did click on like the New York Post, their article, like their tweet with their article for the Among Us big story, knowing that the replies were going to be great. And one of the first replies was a conservative user of X very seriously saying, "Oh, that's the game that AOC plays."
She trained him, dude.
I like
maybe she was training with Luigi Mangione. Maybe that's like
he was in the audience.
The socialist starter kit is to train via Among Us.
Like this story is like a crazy by itself, but it also just goes to show how awful, and not in a way that's like Elon Musk adjacent, but like the media is just so incompetent and unwilling to actually like hire good people, or if it does have good people, they have long since lost good people, good reporters, good journalists, because that's the kind of reporting that they do. Is they report a video game that's been out for like 6 years as an assassination game, and like make it sound super ominous. It's like, no, what are we doing here? This is just a silly game. Literally, probably I wouldn't even be surprised if like 50 million people in the world have played that game.
Right, but also like the idea that they're I've seen this throughout mainstream media, blogs, newsletters, making the issue anything but what is so clearly this guy's view or personal experience of the American healthcare system.
Yes,
and
yes.
the big health insurance companies' roles in denying people that care. I've seen people blame Among Us, like we were just talking about. My favorite was there was a few headlines like this. The UnitedHealthcare CEO's assassination puts a spotlight on, ready for this? Executive security.
I did see that one. Yeah, that's what everyone can't stop talking about.
Right. Like, it is ridiculous that the refusal of people to just acknowledge what this was all about, whether you are in agreement of how this guy went about it or not, whether however you view it, this story clearly is the healthcare system. Even what this guy did. Like, I'm not one of those people who think like, he was crazy, he was insane. But for you to do this, you obviously are in a mental state that a regular person is not in.
Right. And I mean, like, you could read specifically the portion where he talks about in the manifesto, talks about how these health insurance companies are parasites or whatever, like the halfway point. You like, if we could like go back in time and take that portion and read that to like primary voters in 2016, people would be like, oh yeah, that's just like a Bernie Sanders stump speech.
Right.
Like people would be like, oh yeah, that's like the issue everyone's talking about right now is healthcare. Like people
And
would
don't
not
forget
think
to
that this
murder
is
the
like
billionaires. Shoot them in the back.
yeah, like no one would think that this is like like I'm doing air quotes, like a crazy person. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's a very sober person
Yeah, this is
in a
like the
world
most sane.
that we
I am a
didn't
man who
talk
reads a
about.
lot of manifestos, and this is probably the most sane one I've ever read. I'll just
Yeah,
put
like
it
he's just a guy that like probably has, like so many people, cared so
Right.
much about healthcare and how fucked it is in this country. And
Right.
like this last election, we didn't like there was no discussion really on either
Did
side of the
you
debate that talked about healthcare. Like
Now,
did you
people
guys
have
see
been
his
turning.
Reddit that leaked, by the way?
No.
what?
His Reddit account leaked, and
Oh.
well, suppose it. I don't know that it's been confirmed yet, but it looks pretty convincing. His social media profiles came out pretty quick. A lot of his so he had a bunch of chronic health issues. It was his obviously his back. If you guys didn't know, he had his like his vertebrae was out of alignment, and so he was in so much pain that he actually like one of his roommates in his Hawaii hostel was like, yeah, he told me he couldn't even have sex. And it's like, if you tell an Italian American man that he can't fuck, he's gonna shoot somebody, right? But like, I
Yeah,
mean,
Mamma mia.
but he also had something else. I can't remember what it was, but he had something else going on, and then he also had like IBS, and his Reddit account really was a lot of just like trying to find like answers to these things, talking to other people about these things. His Goodreads had a bunch of books in it about that he'd read or wanted to read about like spinal pain and stuff like that.
my
Those,
favorite Goodreads book review he had was 1 Billion Americans, that Maddie
yeah, he shit
Iglesias
all
book.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the correct
He,
take.
he also, the last book he left a review for, by the way, I believe was The Lorax.
He also king, by the way, absolute king, Italian excellence. He read, it shows on his Goodreads that he read the Steve-O biography twice.
Got to make sure you don't miss anything. You know?
Yeah, dude.
He
had to go
annotated that book
back.
back and forth. Yeah.
The first read
Of
left so
course.
many unanswered questions. He had to go back and read for secondary answers.
Hey, maybe there's a few lines in the Steve-O book that once you truly understand them, maybe you got to read them backwards. You know
Well-
exactly how to carry out an assassination right in the middle of the city.
Like
He
the book
left
itself is like an MK Ultra trigger. Yeah.
He left some like ostensibly some clues, I think. And it's tough to say. I tried to find like a Wayback Machine, and I didn't really have any good results to see. Because did you guys see his like X the Everything app? His like header photo, cover photo, whatever you call it.
Yeah, the Braylum, the photo of wait, shit, what was the second one?
So it's three.
It
There's
was
three
the
pictures.
spinal X-ray. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
there's
It's the X-ray he
Braylum,
had.
his X-ray, and then of course the Italian man abs thirst trap. Gotta love him for that.
It's crazy that like we've seen stuff like this before, but all of those pictures meant something, which was crazy. And I'm assuming you're going to be getting into like the specifically the Braylum thing.
Yes, of
I
course.
gotta be honest though, like in his whole like jacket hoodie get up, I was like, oh my god, we have a indie rock assassin. We have our killer. This is awesome. And then it
That dude
turns
is
out
really
he's just
great
some,
at
like,
math rock music.
Yeah, he's some like fitness obsessed jock. That was kind of disappointing, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it! I thought we had a hipster killer.
Well, there's the Braylum, which some people there's two different theories onto why that is. I mean, I guess three if you ask me, because Braylum is pretty sweet.
Braylum's like a kick-ass
Grass fighting
Pokemon, really
type.
great in
Yeah.
UU and Gen 6. Just like a great. Actually, let me correct it. Braylum was OU in Gen 6, not UU. My bad.
I gotta be honest. Unless you're one of the original 151, I don't know you.
You're
So I'm out of the loop here.
You're
Braylum
an
is
old
pretty
head,
cool. And
yeah.
also, just a side note, Braylum plushies are currently sold out on the Nintendo Store. I wonder why that is. But Braylum is actually the 286th Pokemon in the Pokédex. Now, Proverbs 28:6 reads, "Better is a poor man who walks with his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways." That is what a lot of people are saying. He's giving kind of like a QAnon, Q-esque cookie crumbs for this. There's also, I guess, some sort of healthcare denial code 286, which denials appeal claims. So I guess it could be either. He seems like the kind of guy, based on what we're seeing here, that, I mean, he's read the Steve-O biography twice. This is the kind of guy who's going to leave these kind of high IQ clues.
Right.
Be.
Yeah. Another thing that's interesting about him is, and this is according to people who knew him, and that is like he was just normal guy they've known all along. and then about around 6 months ago, he
Yeah, he just
apparently had
disappeared.
that yeah, he had that surgery, and then just disappeared to the point where what appears to be a real life friend of his had to go on private because people were looking into all his tweets. Because a couple of months ago, this guy was tweeting at him, asking like, "Hey, Luigi, where are you? You're going to be a major part of my wedding, and no one knows where you are. I need to know what's going on." I mean, something clearly happened over
Yeah.
these 6 months, and again, I don't think like he clearly has a motive in terms of like a well thought out. Like this isn't some guy who just picked someone at random. He knew why and who he wanted to target, but I do think that
Something happened. He snapped
something
6 months ago or
happened.
something.
Yes,
I've gotten a couple of threads that have been DM'd to me, and if you're one of those people listening, that's more of a chiral mindset type situation where we'll talk about those because like there's some people are getting pretty pilled on this already. I've not looked into that yet. Time will tell if there's anything like suspicious. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
and
And to me,
there are people who like suffer from mental illness like
chronic pain
randomly
will
when they
drive
hit a
you
certain.
fucking crazy, man. If you've never experienced chronic pain, it changes you as a person fundamentally if it's
Right,
bad
right.
enough.
Right. And sometimes that's the your change in mental state, even with all that experience. Sometimes something like that kicks in at a certain age later in life. And we don't, again, I'm not trying to like
26 is
diagnose this
about the
guy.
right age, yeah.
Yeah, but like something clearly happened. Like this wasn't someone who like all the signs were there that he'd end up like,
No,
this
not
guy
at
was
all.
killing puppies and squirrels and stuff like that. He was going to be a serial killer. Like
By
this
all
is
intents and purposes, he was the perfect median American voter.
Yeah, the most normal shooter. He hated Matt Iglesias. He kind of liked RFK. He hated Jordan Peterson. Like this guy's all over the place. Which, by the way, his
I love
takedown
that
of
about
Jordan
him.
Peterson was based as hell.
Do you have that in front of you? Because I like burst out laughing at work when I read what he said about Jordan Peterson. Like
I
this dude, like he might like people are saying like he has incomprehensible politics, but he's just kind of like
He's just a normal
anti-establishment,
guy,
like
dude.
vaguely left leaning, but like maybe also slightly because he doesn't have a word for what he believed, like partially right leaning, which is like the average American, genuinely.
He's just like a normal fucking guy. I mean, I know a lot. I mean, maybe not a lot of guys like this, but like when I was looking at his politics and stuff, like really, like this, nothing about this was surprising. He's like the most normal shooter I think that we've seen so far. I don't
Just
know.
ever. Yeah, like at least in my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I saw there was a reply I saw somewhere under a post of someone saying like, yeah, this dude is like kind of correct about everything he's like done and said, and someone replied with like, wow, you're supporting a mass shooter just being out there in the streets. And it's like, who's talking about a mass shooter? This is not a mass
Oh,
shooter.
he
This is
shot
like
one
a very
person. I'm not feeling
yeah.
any better about this guy being locked up. He could have gotten away with it, even if he shot, I guess, like a CEO that was a company that I liked or something. I don't know that such a thing really exists that would like make me feel any kind of way, but like nobody really is sleeping more soundly tonight unless you're like a healthcare executive. This is not a threat to the public, which like
Yeah.
it was just strange how much, not strange because it's pretty predictable really, but like how much TV coverage, how much media coverage was like this dangerous lunatic is on the loose, and it's like no, like like very clearly you're right, Matt, not to downplay this. Something probably did happen. He probably did snap, but like
Oh,
I
I've
don't.
I've said this, but I've said this before. If you were to tell, like, before we knew who this guy was, if you were to tell me that I was sitting right next to him on the subway, I would, I would just go back to sleep on the subway like a baby. I would not be worried
Yes.
about my own personal, safety one iota. I would not, because this guy was not a threat to the public. He
No.
clearly targeted a very specific person, and other than that person or anyone else who was on this guy's list, who would probably be maybe other healthcare CEOs, you would not have to worry about this guy. This guy was not a threat to the general public at all. Yet the authorities, the police, the FBI were on this guy looking for him like he was a threat to the public when they don't look for people who actually are threats to the public with the same intensity
If
they
he
were.
shot a black child, this wouldn't have even made the fucking news, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real about that.
Oh,
Nobody like
nothing. I'm glad you brought that up because the visual of some of these right wingers posting about how the worst thing, this guy Luigi Mangione deserves the death penalty for killing this poor health insurance CEO, with them simultaneously celebrating that Daniel Penny gets to go free after killing Jordan Neely, a
that was
homeless black guy
crazy.
on the subway. It is such a stark contrast and is a perfect encapsulation of how these people think.
There is
there was that like Laura Ingraham clip that was going around on Fox News, which Alex, we should cut in here, of her basically talking back to back both of these situations where she's like,
the New York Post,
this crazy killer that should be killed and executed. Next up, we're talking about some people are calling Daniel Perry a hero. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Like either you actually like listen. I get someone, and I totally understand it. I'm sort of in many ways like a pacifist in this way too. I don't want anyone to die per se. Like, if someone does and I don't like them, it's already happened. I'm gonna celebrate, but but like I'm not gonna like actively like be someone who's celebrating the death of or wanting the death of someone, I should say. So if you're someone who like just like thinks all life is sacred and you don't like that anyone dies, I get that. But that's not what you saw from these conservatives. They were actively
everybody wants to say
Penny a hero.
Violence. Everyone wants to say violence is never the solution, but violence is the fundamental tool of the ruling class of our government, of CEOs, just like the guy who got fucking shot. So I don't feel bad for him for a fucking second, because he just got what he got in the game he was playing, as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't a civilian.
I mean, his company, if I remember correctly, I saw the stat that United denies annually 63,000 people of coverage for whatever coverage they may need, life-saving coverage. So like, I mean, it's different. He like, the CEO is not going around saying, and you won't get your health care, but it goes all the way to the top at the end of the day. That's 63,000 people that theoretically are not getting their life-saving, not theoretically, that are not getting their life-saving coverage.
Yeah. Now, let's just say you're one of those people who's like, okay, you know what? That's just, I know the system is broken, but that is the healthcare industry. There's nothing illegal about that or whatsoever. I don't agree, obviously, but I'm just putting that out there. What's left out of all of these stories about this guy that makes him sound like he was just a good guy, just running the CEO who worked his way up from the bottom of the company to the top, they completely leave out that this guy is being investigated
for insider trading,
fucking insider trading, for defrauding people. He knew there was a Department of Justice investigation into his company before the public did, and the day before that, or like the day it was about to come out, the dude turns around and sells $50 million of the stock.
I forgot. That's why he was where he was the day he got shot. That's the exact reason why he was where he was.
Meeting or something, I think.
Yeah, it was something like.
I mean, we could just honk off about like how
and I want to.
Is,
I want to keep honking. Oh my God.
But we are over an hour. Let's see. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug for us, for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So you could find me on X, the Everything app, and Blue Sky, or pretty much any social media platform. Just search Matt Binder. Usually I am at Matt Binder on there. You could also check out my YouTube channel, which is where I do my live streams and the podcasts go up there. YouTube.com/Matt Binder. And also, like I said, maybe by the time this podcast gets up, my newsletter will be in full swing, but it's up there now for you to check out. Disruptionist.com.
Awesome.
Check it out.
And I just followed you on Blue Sky as well too. I don't think I had got you on there yet. Still new. Okay. Geez, June, I think we have something to plug for once.
We do. Yeah. Do you wanna do the honors?
Sure. Yeah, we've got I guess this is going to come out after the other announcement, but we announced our first live show March 15th at the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago. Pre-sale tickets, if you're a Patreon subscriber, have gone on sale. Now, immediately the first batch sold out. I put a few more on there. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, they have not sold out. But your best chance to get those, because I have a feeling that when they go on, they're going to go on sale to the general public on the 1st, and those are going to go fast. So I think if you want to get those, not to be greedy, but the best place to get first access to those is on our Patreon, patreon.com/Western Kabuki. Where we're going to launch those too. We're going to have more cities in 2025. We're going to try and hit. I can't make any promises yet because the economics of all of the touring are it's very spurious. We're trying to make sure that we can keep it affordable. So it's going to be kind of announced piecemeal, but hopefully we'll be coming to a city near you in 2025. But for now, Chicago pre-sale is up.
Get in on that pre-sale now, folks, because you don't know how much tickets will be worth in the future once they go publicly on sale.
Hodl. As I've always been saying, hodl, and you will be rich after you buy these tickets.
You might want to dump them as soon as they go on sale to the public. You can be rich.
I can't lie. When we were talking earlier about pre-sale, I was like, wait, we're going to be plugging our pre-sale tickets. Like, of course, it's a 1,000,000% different thing, but I was like, fuck, there's no, what is it? What are the chances we're talking about 2 different pre-sale shit? But this isn't a scam. This isn't crypto nonsense.
Listen, you
get to see us live. You get to see us hang out live and
the pre-sale tickets are cheaper than they will be when they launch on the 1st to the general public. So if you're smart and you're listening to this, you could buy a bunch of these. Fuck it, buy as many as you can. I don't know how many are left at this point, but buy them for a discount and then sell them to bag holders.
Don't
do it. No, do not do that.
Don't forget to mention the free NFT that comes with every ticket sale that you can resell later for additional profit.
It all comes down to economics and passive income.
That's just smart money, baby. That's what we're about here on the Western Kabuki Show. All right,
I hear Matt, the NFT was created by AI as well. Is it AI generated art? Wow.
Interestingly, the same team behind the Hawk coin. But no, for real, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Come see us live.
You guys didn't tell me you know Howie Mandel's son-in-law.
Yeah,
he's my cousin,
close personal friend. Yeah. Matt, thanks so much for coming on, buddy. We'll have to have you back on soon. Really appreciate your time. And guys, we'll see you next week.
See ya.